to have a copyright notice accompany your work is important for a number of reasons. So this is a statement that's placed on your phonorecords or copies, and you want to have the copyright symbol and then the date of the first publication year or the creation year and the name of the owner. And this puts users on notice, not only for permissions and in a way to find you, but it also prevents somebody from saying, oh, well, they didn't have a copyright notice. I didn't know I couldn't use it. Even though that won't get them very far, it does prevent that kind of response. It also prevents a work from being orphaned, which is a huge issue in this company. We have so many orphaned works that nobody can use because we can't locate the owner. So you want to, both on your website and in the metadata of your work, if you can, put your contact information so people can find you. Do I need to register my copyright in my music? Because we know at the moment of creation, you have a copyright in your work. So why do you need to register it? Well, it supersizes your rights. It's a good way to think about it. So you'll be eligible for statutory damages and attorney's fees and costs, which is really important because those attorney's fees and costs are very expensive without those statutory damages. If folks use this as a sword and a shield, some people are like, well, I don't want to sue. I just want to protect myself. But, you know, this is also a protective mechanism. In order to get those supersized rights, you can register your copyright at any point, but it needs to be registered prior to the infringement or within 3 months of publication in order to get those statutory damages and those supersized rights. And then what is publication? Gary wanted me to add, and it's just the distribution of copies to the public through sale or other transfer. Okay?
It's a term of art of sorts, and it's basically getting it out there, and there are many ways you can get your music out there.
And I mentioned this previously, but works published in the United States may be subject to a mandatory deposit with the Library of Congress. What this means is, let's say I don't feel like registering my work with the Copyright Office. I can still submit 2 of my best editions of my work to the Library of Congress so that it's on record with them. And in that way, people will always be able to find who the owner of that work is. If you really don't feel like, if you have some, block to registering your work with the Copyright Office, you can do this at any point, and it avoids the issue of orphaned work. So in the instructions, it will state the following, and just really read through all of the instruction, because it gives you all of the information that you need to get through this registration. But it says, if you are claiming both the sound recording and the recorded work, such as musical, dramatic, or literary work contained in the sound recording, check the box for sound recording. And in the other field, describe your contribution. And this is very important, because if you don't check this other box, you're only going to be registering the sound recording, and then you will select the sound recording option. So and there's a little trick to that we will get to later, or right now actually. Some sort of recorded dramatic work, you put text, but that other field is very, very important. And I'd say if you don't remember anything else, just remember to do that. So then the normal process of going through a copyright registration is that you register 1 work per registration. But this is for a group of works, and it makes things much more reasonable and economical. It's going to ask you for the title, and this will be the title of the album of songs that you're going to be uploading. So you start with the album title, or it's a collection of unreleased, unpublished songs. You give some sort of title to that song as a collection. And there's a little bit more detail that I will give you if you are registering unpublished songs. This is really for published songs, which I actually recommend. And again, we want to do this within 3 months of publication. You want to click Save for each screen, and then you add Next, and then you select Content Title for the song. And then you type in the song title. So, again, you select the title of the work being registered for the album title. And for each title of the song, you select content title. That's how you will list all of the songs within that album.
And I think it's helpful for people to know that you can copyright a bunch of songs at once for a single fee. That means you don't have to pay per song to copyright.
If the authorship is common.
Right, yes.
So then you select whether it's a published or unpublished work. In this case, we're going to select published, and then you select or you type in the year of publication here. And if you're registered as a composer with a pro, you may have a number that you can add there within this specific screen. And then you're adding author information, right? So you're selecting whether it's an individual or an organization. This is a question that we won't go into that could be the subject of a whole separate lecture, but do you have an LLC? So if you are operating and creating all of your work under an LLC, you may want to list that LLC instead of yourself.
But you have to keep that LLC going forever. Or change your copyright down the line.
And then what are you the author of, right? Are there multiple authors? You would include sound recording and then input other, and then add the lyrics, album, whatever it is that is the other. This is an important screen called limitation of claims. So this limits your claims if the work is based on previously registered material or material in the public domain or not owned by the claimants or owners. Let's say you have a sample of something in your music that would be included in this limitation of claim because you cannot claim ownership over that. Michael, you have anything to add on the limitation of claim?
No, I mean, I was thinking about that when we were talking about Weird Al Yankovic. When he's starting with something that melodically is exact, that part of the composition is the same, but he's replacing a lot of the words, and so I'm wondering, when he files his copyright applications, if he does, what do his limitations of claim look like?
That's a good question.
I mean, I have no idea. These are things that crawl through my mind sometimes when I'm filling out these applications.
And then there's another screen for claimants, and you just want to add yourself again unless there's another claimant. That could be another member of the band or someone you gave certain rights to. I'm hoping that you can just add yourself. And the contact information you give will be publicly visible. So if you have a problem with this, think about that before you start your registration. And then we just have a bunch of different screens entering your contact information. There's a screen about special handling. So if you want to expedite your registration, you can pay this really large surcharge fee. And in my opinion, it's not needed. Michael, what do you think? How often do you add this?
I've never used it.
Yeah. So I would say don't pay the extra surcharge fee.
I can think of one instance where it might be important, but it's never happened to me. But there are times when proving your chain of title for something, they require a copyright registration to prove that you have chain of title. And I've never had somebody say, well, your application isn't good enough. But I could see that happening, and under those instances, you would have to use that. I've never had to.
So then you'll hit a case summary review page, and you just want to make sure everything's correct on there. And then you can either click add to cart, or you can click on the pay button. And you want to click on the pay button and not the add to cart button, because it'll just add everything to the cart before you're ready. It's a little quirky. So just click pay. And then after you pay, you're allowed to submit your work and upload your MP3 files. Or they have a list of other acceptable formats. And they have a 500 megabyte upload limit. So let's say you have an album of 20 songs. Just upload them and select them to be uploaded in smaller batches, because an irritation that I hear over and over again is that the site times out on you. and then you have to start all over again. So just don't try to do it all at once. Just upload it in batches. It'll be fine. And then again, I referred previously to this question of registering unpublished versus published works. And there's just more limitations around registering unpublished works. So if you can really do it within that 3 month of publication window, that's ideal. Otherwise, if you're registering unpublished works before they're published, you're limited to 20 works to be uploaded, and all of the works have to have the same author and the same date of publication once they're published. So, in this instance, it's actually better to wait, in my opinion.
Cool. All right. Well, that was instructive and fascinating. I would urge Michael Jackson to continue and carry on and tell us about performance rights organizations.
Let's do it.
I'm happy to do that. And Talia, thanks for that.